Haribol.
Recording in progress.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, can we begin? Yes? Wait, share the screen.
Yes, Maharaj, I have made you the co-host.
Okay, thank you. Om Jnanatimarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubai Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So welcome everyone to our ongoing study of the Bhagavad Gita, and we're studying chapter 15. We began chapter 15 yesterday, we're continuing today. So I'm going to show you the PowerPoint presentation on this section. Let me see. I hope I'm going to show you anyway. Can everyone see the PowerPoint slides?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, okay, we'll go ahead. Lesson 1, revision. We talked about the entanglement of the living entity in the modes of nature and how to transcend the modes. Right? Chapters 13 and 14. Right? Chapter 12 was describing the glories of devotional service, Bhakti Yoga. And then chapter 13 introduces how by knowledge you can also come to Bhakti Yoga. So this is what happened. This is how we got to chapter 13. Lord Krishna wants to show that by knowledge, also by Gyan, we can come to Bhakti Yoga. And at the end of chapter 13, chapter 13, text 22, describe how the living entity associates with different modes of nature. So chapter 14 was describing the different modes of nature. And we heard about the different characteristics of each of the modes, and how there's always a struggle for supremacy taking place between the three modes of nature. And sometimes someone's in the mode of goodness, but sometimes they become influenced by passion, and sometimes also they become influenced by ignorance. And so long as you're in the modes of nature, you're not very safe, you're not very secure, because we can always be influenced by the lower mode. So we want to understand how we can get out of the modes. This is the idea, right? Then we identified ways we are personally influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. We identified ways we hope we were identified more about others rather than about our own self. I hope we're not so much influenced by passion and ignorance. you all look very nice and sweet and gentle, but certainly we can also be influenced by passion and ignorance. And it will come, passion, a lot of activity, very attached to results. You want to enjoy the results, an intense endeavor to achieve something. And then ignorance means just the opposite of the mode of goodness. A lot of intoxication, laziness, a lot of sleep, dirty in our habits, not clean, these kind of things. This is the mode of ignorance. So these things happen to us. So practical ways, we talked about practical ways we can develop the mode of goodness. Practical ways, what can we do to develop the mode of goodness? Well, practical things we can do is we can try to make a point of sleeping earlier in the night and waking up earlier in the morning. That's a good thing to do. Try to be up for the Brahma Muhurta. Brahma Muhurta means the auspicious time in the day, which comes 1.5 hours before sunrise. So sunrise usually is about 6 or 6:30 later in the winter time. So 1.5 hours before the sunrise, it's an auspicious time for meditation. It's nice to be awake then. We can develop the mode of goodness. We can try to minimize on our own possessions. We tend to accumulate a lot more things than we actually need. You know, we may have even more money than we actually need. So we have to be careful to develop the mode of goodness. You get too much wealth, that's a problem. Too little wealth is also a problem, but it's actually better to have less money than to have more money. Brahmanas like to live simply. So it's more in the mode of goodness to be poor and to practice simple living and high thinking. So it helps us to be more in the mode of goodness. And then statements from Prabhupada's purports to chapter 14, which reflect his mission. So we showed some of those statements in Prabhupada's purports about, going to Arti, worshipping the deity every day, and taking bath twice a day, and these different things. So Prabhupada spoke about that by practicing spiritual life, then it's very easy to maintain the mode of goodness. If you're able to practice a spiritual kind of program in your own daily life, then it helps you to keep more in the mode of goodness. If every day you're reading and chanting, then your life will be much more in the mode of goodness. All right? So this was the revision. Association with material nature entangles him. Prabhupada's quoting here, in his constitutional position, a living entity is above the three modes of material nature, but association with material nature entangles him in the different modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. Due to the association of these three modes, his desire to dominate the material world is there. You see, this is the danger being in the modes of nature. We develop a desire to dominate the material world. We want to control. We want to be God. So Prabhupada continues, by engagement in devotional service, in full Krishna consciousness, he is immediately situated in the transcendental position. And his unlawful desire to control Krishna, his unlawful desire to control material nature is removed. So this is from the Bhagavad Gita 14:26 purport. So we're going ahead to this chapter 15, which we're on. So this is lesson 2 in this unit. It's called the Banyan Tree and Purushottama Yoga. Purushottama Yoga, of course, is the title of the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So the chapter begins with a description of the banyan tree. And those of you who attended the class yesterday will remember the description about the banyan tree, right? Who would like to tell me something about the banyan tree?
May I?
Yes?
Banyan trees is that their roots are upward and branches are downward. And
what's the Sanskrit for that? What's the Sanskrit for that? Roots are
I don't
upwards.
know about Sanskrit.
You don't remember the Sanskrit? It's important to know these words. Urva Mulam. Urva Mulam, yes, is what? What's the meaning, Urva Mulam?
Roots above.
Roots are up, yes. And the other branch? Adashakam. Yes, Adashakam. The branches are down. Right? Okay, tell me something else about the banyan tree. What about the leaves on the tree?
They are Vedic hymns.
One person. Vedic hymns. Yes, they're the Vedic hymns. And what's the fruit of the tree?
Artha, liberation. Karma, Kam, Moksha.
Dharma, Artha,
Karma, Moksha. Kama,
yeah,
Moksha.
Give me the English.
Liberation, economical development, sense gratification, sense enjoyment, sense gratification.
Religion.
Religion, dharma, religion.
Yes, you should say religion, economic development, then sense gratification, and then liberation, right? In the order. Right? That's the fruit. And how is the tree nourished? What's nourishing the tree?
3 modes of material nature.
Yes, the 3 modes of material nature. And the tree in the material world is situated on what?
Desire.
Yes, situated on desire. Right. Good. Something else about the tree? What about the sense objects? What are the sense objects?
Twigs of the branches.
The twigs, right? Twigs of the tree. And who's in the upper region of the tree? Who's in the lower region of the tree?
Upper region, demigods and Gandharvas. In lower region, the lower animals, birds, horses.
Where are the humans?
Humans are in lower.
Huh? The humans are where?
Lower.
Yes, they're all in the lower region. The human beings and the animals and the trees, the dogs and the cats and the cows and the horses, all in the lower region of the tree. And the upper regions, you got the higher beings like the Gandharvas and the demigods and like that. So there's many branches, and we're moving from one branch to the other in this tree. It's very big. How do we get out of the tree?
By cutting the attachment, like detachment, by detachment.
By detachment. Yeah? How? But what's that go? How do you get out of the tree? We're in this banyan tree. How are you going to get out of it?
By surrendering.
We have to get an axe, right? We have to have an axe, and we have to cut the tree. We have to cut to get out of the tree. So that we give the term Asanga Shastrena. Asanga Shastrena. What is the meaning? What is the meaning?
By the weapon of detachment.
By the weapon of detachment, yes. Asanga Shastrena. And the weapon of detachment is in the form of the axe. To cut down the tree, then we can get out from that tree. Right? So this is the tree of fruitive work, fruitive reactions. We're in this banyan tree, entangled in the material energy. And this tree is like a reflection, right? Where is it? A tree like this with the roots up and the branches down, it's the reflection of the tree. So reflection means there's a real tree. So this material world is like the reflection of the spiritual world. The reflection is not eternal, but the real tree is eternal. So the spiritual world is eternal. The material world is temporary. Doesn't exist for long. And this way we understand the banyan tree, right? Because we have to get detached from the material world, and we have to become attached to the spiritual world. We have to become attached to the spiritual world. We have to want to go there. Just like young people, when we're young, we always think about, oh, I'd like to go there. Oh, I'd like to go to that place. Oh, that must be nice there. Right? I'm sure all you young people there, you think like that. Maybe you think, oh, I'd like to go to Vrindavan. Oh, I'd like to go to Mayapur, maybe. Maybe you're thinking like that. Maybe you're thinking, oh, I'd like to go to America even, for some reason. I don't know why, but sometimes people, we like to go there. We're fascinated by them. So we should be fascinated by the spiritual world, and we should want to go there, right? We should be very attracted to hear more and to find out how to go there to the spiritual world. So Lord Krishna is telling us, and first he's telling us how we have to get out. We have to cut our way out of this tree, this banyan tree. So then, this 15th chapter then goes on to talk about transmigration, about changing from one body to another. Transmigration. This is going on in the banyan tree, moving from different branches in the tree. sometimes going up to the top of the tree, sometimes coming down, but somewhere within that banyan tree. Transmigration, right? We've had many lives. We've all had many, many lives, but we don't remember. Just like sometimes people would ask Srila Prabhupada, they would say, Swamiji, how old are you? And then Prabhupada would say to them, I am the same age as you. And they would be shocked. They'd say, what? No, you're an elderly man. You're not the same age as me. And Prabhupada said, I am a soul, and you are also a soul. Right? So, when I was a young man, you were all in another body. You had not been born, you were not yet born, or you were away in a different place, in a different body. Now you've come in this particular body. Transmigration. We have been moving from one body to another. Right? In the Bhagavad Gita, you remember how Krishna explained to Arjuna? Lord Krishna was telling the history of the Bhagavad Gita. Right? Do you not remember this? In the Bhagavad Gita, which chapter did Krishna tell the history of the Bhagavad Gita?
4.
Yes, 4th chapter. You know the verse?
Evam parampara praptam.
Go ahead.
Evam parampara praptam.
Is that all you know? You don't know the whole verse?
No, Maharaj.
Imam vivishvate yogam
Yes.
proktavam aham avyayam vivishvan manave prahur. Yes, do you know?
Anur Ikshavaku Abravit.
Yes, translation. Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to, who did Krishna instruct? Huh?
Sun God Vivaswan.
To the sun god, Vivishwan. And then what did Vivishwan do with it?
Instructed it to Manu.
And then what did Manu do with it?
To Ikshavaku.
Manu gave it to Ikshvaku. And what did Ikshvaku do with it?
Instructed to.
He gave it to the saintly kings, to the Raja Rishis, the Rajashis. Right? In this way the knowledge was passed down. Krishna created the parampara. But what happened? Evam parampara praptam imam rajashyo vidu sakaleniha mahata yoga nashta parantapa. Right? The knowledge was passed down, but in course of time, the knowledge was lost. So Lord Krishna had to realize. And so when Krishna was saying all this to Arjuna, what did Arjuna say? Arjuna said, oh Krishna, the sun god is so much senior by birth than you. He's so much older than you. How could you give the knowledge to the sun god? And what did Krishna say? How did Krishna answer? Huh?
But Arjuna don't remember any birth, but Krishna remember all of his births.
Yes, he said, many, many births both you and I have had, O Arjuna. I can remember all of them, but you cannot. Right? We don't remember. our previous lives. But we have had many, many births in different species of life, in different places. This is what we call transmigration, moving from one body to another. It's going on continually. Right? So that's from text 6 up to text 11. And then the next section is Krishna as a maintainer. Krishna is maintaining everyone. One of the things which we have to know about surrender is that Krishna maintains us. We should be thankful to Krishna for maintaining us. So that's verses 12 to 15. And then, the end of the chapter, we have the summary of the Vedanta Sutra. You know Vedanta Sutra? Veda means knowledge, and Vedanta means what? Veda means knowledge. What?
End of knowledge.
The end of knowledge. But it's in a sutra. Sutra means condensed. It's made short. So it's more difficult to understand. So anyway, the Vedanta Sutra is summarized. There's 3 verses there in that section at the end of the 15th chapter, which summarize the Vedanta Sutra. We'll look at that. All right, here's our banyan tree, right? From the first verse of the 15th chapter. The banyan tree. Not a very, not very clear picture. Anyway, this green thing on the top, this is the tree, right? Here's the tree, and here's the reflection of the tree. This is a reflection on the water. So the entanglement of this material world is compared to a banyan tree. The banyan tree, doesn't look much like a banyan tree, but understand there's many branches, branches and branches and branches and branches, and it's all over the place. If you go to see it, this tree in Calcutta, in the Botanic Gardens there, it's huge. It's huge. It's really a big tree. Right? So, the banyan tree. Reflected on desire, we said. In the material world, the banyan tree is reflected on desire, situated on desire. And here we have Urvamulam. Urvamulam, mulam meaning root, and urva, going up. Right? And then, right, upward roots, and then adasakam. Adasakam meaning, what's the meaning? Adasakam?
Branches are downward.
Branches down, right. So adasakam, branches are down, and here we have the leaves, which represent the Vedic hymns. And then the tips of the branches, they represent the senses. And here the twigs represent sense objects. So the tips of the branches are the senses, the 5 senses, and the twigs are the sense objects. And here's the fruits. The fruits are dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, or religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. And here's how we get out. Asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Right? We have to cut ourselves out with detachment, the weapon of detachment. Dridena chitva, because the tree is strongly rooted. So the branches are very thick. So cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Dridena chitva. Roots are very strong. And asanga, detachment. Shastrena, the weapon. So we have to use the weapon of detachment. Prabhupada talks about Urval Mulam. He gives a nice example. He says, just like if you have to keep yourself, the legs are up and the head down. Somebody keeps you like this. How long you will feel comfortable? Right? Maybe you do yoga. Huh? If you do yoga, maybe you do headstand, inverted postures. So how long you can do it? Not very long. So somebody takes your legs and catches you and your head down, then it is not very comfortable. So this whole material world is like that. Urva Mulam. The mulam should have been down, but it is up. Therefore, it is uncomfortable. Right? It makes sense, doesn't it? You can understand the logic here. Srila Prabhupada is presenting to us the logic. Another explanation is it is perverted reflection. We have got experience of the Urva Mulam on the bank of a river or the bank of a pond. The tree is standing, but the reflection, we find the same tree has become Urva Mulam and Ada Shakam. Urva Mulam, the roots are up, the branches are down. So, by this statement, Krishna says that this is not real. That reflection in the water of the tree is not real. The real tree is up. Similarly, real enjoyment, real varieties, everything is in the spiritual world. It is simply reflection. It is not fact. Therefore, our enjoyment here is called Maya or illusion. Prabhupada's lecture on the first verse of the 15th chapter, given in Bombay, February 26, 1974. 1974, where were all of you? None of you were born. No, at that time you were in some other body, some other place. Now you've got this human body. Now you've got the association of devotees. So now you have the opportunity to cultivate Krishna consciousness. So you have to take it very seriously. Right? So here is this verse from Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday we studied the translation and purport. Here's the Sanskrit. Right? Who's good in chanting? Let me hear you chant. Someone who would like to chant?
Maharaj, may I?
Yes.
निर्माण मोहजित संग दोषा अध्यात्म नित्य विनिवृत कामा द्वैन्द्वै विमुक्त सुख दुःख संगे गच्छन्त मूढपदम् अव्ययम् तत् निर्माण मोहाजित संग दोषा अध्यात्म नित्य विनिवृत कामा द्वैन्द्वै विमुक्त सुख दुःख संगे गच्छन्त मूढ Padam avyayam tat.
Okay, thank you very much. And here's the translation. This is text number 5. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. So Lord Krishna is describing the qualification here for us to go back into the spiritual world to enjoy the association of the Supreme Lord. Right? We spoke about it yesterday. We have to be free from false pride, from prestige or pride. In other words, we have to cultivate humility. Our ego, often the problem is our false ego. The false ego. What happens is our ego is in proportion to our body. You know, someone's thinking, I am the body. They're thinking, I'm young, and I'm good looking, and I'm educated. And, you know, we're thinking all these things. And in this way, we have a lot of false ego. It's all these things are temporary. Like, we're not young for very long. And our education is limited. How much do we know? And all these different features of the material body, they're all temporary because the body's temporary. But we're very proud of them. So we have to give up that attachment to the material body and to the material energy. This is what's mentioned here, illusion and false association. False association. We think, well, I'm born in a high-class family, I'm from a rich family, or I'm educated, I'm cultured, like this. This is a false ego. And, you know, we think, I'm so big, I'm this size, maybe, how tall are you, maybe 1 meter 80, 180 or something, or 2 meters or something. I'm like that. And our ego is in proportion to our physical dimension. But our ego should be on the spiritual platform. And what is our spiritual dimension? Does anyone know? What is our spiritual dimension? Do you know your spiritual size? I'm sure you know.
Size of the soul, Maharaj.
Yes.
It's like 100 cut off the tip of a hair.
Is it 100 or what?
No, 1,000.
10,000.
10,000.
10,000. It's 10,000.
Yeah, 10,000.
Yes, it's 100 of 100 of a tip of the hair. Right? It's the tip of the hair divided into 100, and then you take one part and then you divide it into 100 again. So it's 10,000, 1/10,000th of the tip of the hair. So that's our spiritual dimension. So Lord Chaitanya speaks about our spiritual dimension in the Shikshastikam prayers, right? Think of ourselves lower than the straw in the street. We should be more tolerant than the tree and think of ourselves lower than a straw in the street. So why? Because we're spirit souls. We're tiny souls, 1/10,000th of the tip of the hair. And our ego should be in proportion to that. The true ego is to think, I am the servant of Krishna. But the false ego, we're thinking, I am the doer. I am the enjoyer. We're thinking, I am doing everything. So this is the ignorance. This is the false association. This is the illusion. We have to get rid of all these things in order to go to the eternal kingdom. Right? So asanga shastrena dedrena chitva. Asanga shastrena meaning the weapon to create detachment. And dredena chitva means strongly rooted, that tree of the material energies. You know, our conditioning is very deep, very strong, because we've been in the material world for many lifetimes. So to get out of the entanglement of this strong banyan tree of material life, one must surrender to Krishna. As soon as one surrenders unto Krishna, one becomes detached automatically from this material extension. This is from verses 3 and 4 in the 15th chapter. Right? As soon as we surrender, then we can become detached from this. But surrender is not such an easy thing. We're learning. Okay, but go ahead to the next verse here. Right? Who's going to chant this verse for us? Let's hear someone else. What about one of the men? Let's hear one of the men chant this sloka.
Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, go ahead.
Nattad pashyate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yad gatho manipante tadhama paramam mama.
Okay, very good, yes. Okay, this is text number 6. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. Right? So Krishna had been speaking about surrender and how by surrender then we can go to Krishna's abode. So we may want to know, what is it like in that abode? So Krishna is telling us a little bit about it. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna doesn't speak too much. In the 8th chapter, there was one verse. In the 8th chapter, verse 20, and here in 15th chapter, verse 6, you have another verse. So there's only 2 verses about the spiritual world in the whole Bhagavad Gita. You want to know more about the spiritual world? You have to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyway, Krishna is telling us something about his abode, the spiritual world. And he's also telling us that once you go there, you don't have to come back. Because Arjuna may be thinking, or we may be thinking, well, how long can we go there for? How long can we stay there for? You know, like you go to countries these days, they give you a tourist visa, or they give you PR or something. They give you a visa so you can stay for some time. Maybe you get a student visa, like that. But here, you go to the spiritual world, you go to Krishna's abode. Those who reach it never return to this material world. Oh, we may say, oh, I don't want to go. Oh, I don't want to leave my mother. Oh, I don't want to go. Like that. We get very attached to our material situation, our bodily comforts, our bodily relations. Oh, I cannot leave my family. It's all right. You can take them with you. You can take them with you to the spiritual world. So Prabhupada, talking about this here, Prabhupada said, why should you pay the electric bill? Right? You get a big electric bill. Yeah, I know in the winter time when it gets really cold, you know, we want hot water to take bath, and we want some heating sometimes in the room to keep the room a little warm. So Prabhupada said, what is this foolishness? Why should you pay the electric bill? Go there and live there. There's no need. Na tad basayate. It is the spiritual world is not lit, is not lighted by the sun, the moon, because everyone is effulgent. Every planet is effulgent. So therefore, there is no need of these things. There is no ignorance. There is no scarcity. There is no miserable condition. Doesn't it sound very nice? Who are you interested to go there? Who is interested? Remember, you go there, you don't come back, right? So, and you don't need to pay the electric bill also. So nice. So natural heat. This is Prabhupada lecturing Srimad Bhagavatam 3:25-21 in Nairobi. Prabhupada went to Nairobi, Kenya. He was there in 1975. This lecture was November 1st. Okay? And here's the other quote from the purport of verse number 6 of the verse we just read, 15th chapter. Prabhupada said, one should be captivated by this information. He should desire to transfer himself to that eternal world and extricate himself from this false reflection of reality. Right? We're trying to enjoy the false reflection of reality. We should try to get free. You want to enjoy some reflection, or do you want the real thing? Going ahead, this is text number 8. The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again takes another. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. Vayur gandham ivasayat. I mean, just like the air carries aromas, the vayu, the air is carrying different conception. So the same way the soul leaves the body and it carries some conception, some ideas, some desires, and these things take us to another body according to our consciousness. You know, you've already studied earlier in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yam yam papi smaram bhavam chajite anti kalevaram. Whatever you remember at the end of life, then you will carry that state with you to the next life, and you will prepare for a next body, for your next body. Just like the air carries aromas. When the air passes over the garbage, it carries a smell from the garbage. And when the same air passes over the flower garden, it will carry the smell of the flowers. Now the air doesn't smell of flowers and it doesn't smell of garbage, but it carries that smell because it passed over these places. So the same way, the living entity in the material world, we have different conceptions of life, and they take us from one body to the other, just as the air carries aromas. So if we can cultivate spiritual the attraction to Krishna and the spiritual world, then we can also go there. We don't need to take birth again and again in the material world. That is the point. Okay, so here you can see the illustration. The six senses. The living entity is struggling very hard with the six senses, including the mind, grouped around the mind. So you can see the knowledge acquiring senses, the karmendriyas, as they're called. So the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and the sense of touch. The senses are all grouped around the mind. Higher than the senses is the mind, and higher than the mind is intelligence. And intelligence is seated next to the soul. So the senses, they're grouped around the mind. The mind is dictating to the senses to act in different ways. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, they give the example that the five senses are like the man who has 5 wives. If you have 5 wives, then each wife wants to go someplace. They have their own way. One wife wants to go to the mall. Other wife wants to go to the hairdressing salon. Other wife wants to go to buy some food, like that, different things. So the same way the senses, each sense is demanding attention. The tongue is saying, take me there. The nose is saying, take me this place. The eyes want to go the other place. The ear, the sense of touch, they all demand something. So that is the way that we're creating the body in the next life. These different actions centered around the mind. So, text 9 describes the process of transmigration. Right? Who's going to read the Sanskrit for us this time? Someone else who's not read?
Maharaj, may
Yes.
Sotram chakshusprashanam cha rasanam grahanam eva cha adhisthaya manashchayam vishayan upasevate. Sevate. The living entity, this taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. Bhagavad Gita 15.9.
Thank you very much. Yes. So this is how we're enjoying in the body with these different senses and sense objects. It's all grouped about the mind. It's causing us to take another body. We give up one gross body, we take another. The subtle body carries us to the next body. And sometimes you get the body like this fellow, this rabbit. Sometimes we get the dog's body, sometimes we get the rabbit's body, the cat's body. We're lucky to have the human body. It's very special to get the human form of life. There's so many other forms of life. So we're even more fortunate because we get the association of devotees. And in the association of devotees, we can cross over the ocean of material existence. Prabhupada explains, once placed in some particular kind of body, he comes under the control of nature, because the body, being matter, acts according to the laws of nature. At that time, the living entity has no power to change that law. Yeah, now we're in the human body. But we can get put into some other kind of body. Sometimes I saw this dog. It was a little dog. And the man was putting a leash around the neck of the dog. And the dog got so upset. He didn't want the leash to be put around him. Oh, the dog was in the dog. This spirit soul was in the body of the dog, and he was not very happy in that dog's body. He had to bark. He couldn't do anything else. So, like that, we get put into these different bodies. We have no power to change it. Once you're in the dog's body, you have to bark. You can't do anything else. Just like sometimes you get put into the body of a pig, and you have to live like the pig. You can't say, no, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in this. I don't want to be. You have no choice. The law of material nature, like that, we cannot change. Prabhupada continues, suppose an entity is put into the body of a dog. As soon as he's put into the body of a dog, he must act like a dog. He cannot act otherwise. And if the living entity is put into the body of a hog, then he is forced to eat stool and act like a hog. This is transmigration. We get put into all these different bodies. It's not very pleasant, and it's been going on for a long time. We've been through so many different bodies. So, a little exercise for you, right, today. We had some groups. Can we make some groups tonight with the devotees who are here? How many are here, Prabhu?
Maharaj, 27.
27. Okay, so you have to make about 5 groups. Right? And we want you to, in your group, make a list of significant philosophical points relevant for preaching Krishna consciousness from the Bhagavad Gita 15.7 and 15.15, verses and purports. And then also discuss the significance of Bhagavad Gita 14.3 and 4, verses and purports. This is the exercise. All right? So we'll give you, how much time do you need? 15 minutes.
Okay.
We expect a good response. Give you a long time. Don't share the workout.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev，顶拜您的莲花组。您时间方面，我可以跟您通一个话吗？简单的向您汇报一下东北之行的情况。如果你没有时间的话，我也可以给您发语音。
Hare Krishna. Krishna Priya Mataji, please send it again. I'm still here. I haven't joined. Hare Krishna Maharaj, I'm still here. I haven't joined any room. Can you please send me again?
Can we what?
Can you please send me again to go to the room?
Okay.
Maharaj wants to hear some from like men like Sagar Prabhu, Ishwar Prabhu, or anybody he wants to like hear from. Maharaj, you are muted.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Anyway, if some men are there, yes, I'd like to hear from some men. I can also hear from some more ladies who have something to contribute. I want to hear from the devotees. Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, just my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, I'm going to talk about chapter 14, shloka number 3 and 4.
Yes?
So in shloka number 4, Krishna says, Aham Bija Pradapati. Krishna says, I am the seed-giving father of everything, and everything comes from him, and he is the seed of everything. And in 33 shloka, like, Krishna talks about the 24 elements and all the things from which the water develops. Like here he gives an example of a scorpion. A scorpion lays its egg in piles of rice. It doesn't mean that the egg of a scorpion is coming from rice. It's coming from a scorpion's pile for mother. So in this material world, everything comes from the material person. So it doesn't mean that species or human is the father of that thing. But in reality, everything coming from Krishna, and Krishna is the father of everything. That's it.
Okay. Very basic, clear. Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Right? Any other men want to speak on something else? How many men were in the group?
There are 3, Maharaj.
Okay. So another man should speak. Let me hear.
Yes, Sagar Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, go ahead. Oh. Difficult, huh?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
I think he's having internet issues, Maharaj.
Yeah, voice is breaking, yeah. Okay, let's hear somebody else. Some other ladies are there?
Any Mataji wants to include some points? In the text of 14.3 or 14.4, we can add a one point that there is a divine relationship between all living entities and Lord, because Lord is the original father of all living entities. This is a point we can add.
Okay, yes. Lord is the father of everyone. So we should have universal brotherhood, right? My brother pig, my brother dog. Oh, they have to be my brother. How are we supposed to apply that? You're telling me the dog and the pig are my brothers. So how do I put that into Krishna consciousness?
Like they are all souls. So
Yes.
there is a soul connection. Soul and soul is brotherhood of other soul.
Yeah, they're all. Is there a difference between the souls in the dog and the pig and the man?
No, I don't think so.
The same kind of soul, huh?
Yes.
We all are the children of the same God.
So how can we help the pig and the dog? What can we do for them?
Treat Kirtan.
What can we do to help to elevate the pig and the dog?
Maharaj, we can do street kirtan or some kirtans, and we can I remember one of the I don't remember the name of a devotee, but they said that we can even share prasadam to these the dogs and the pigs. So
yeah, we can give them prasadam.
Yeah.
We can let them hear the holy name.
Yes.
Lord Chaitanya discussed with Haridas Thakur, and Haridas Thakur said all living entities benefit from the chanting of the holy name. So if we let them also hear the holy name, that's very nice. Of course, we cannot behave with them all the same way. Just like the tiger is also a spirit soul, but you cannot embrace the tiger and say, oh, my dear brother tiger. Lord Chaitanya could do these things. Lord Chaitanya, when he came through Jarakanda forest, he got all the wild animals to chant and dance, and they all became like brothers and sisters, and they were the ferocious animals became gentle. But that's Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is, we're not on Lord Chaitanya's level. We don't have his ability. But still, we can understand that they're also souls, part and parcel of Lord Krishna, and let them hear the holy name. And if possible, also we give them prasadam. Okay. What about the first part, the other verses that you were supposed to speak on? Mostly we only heard people speak on 14.3. What about the other exercise?
Hare Krishna Maharaj,
Yes.
as I have read something the conditioning is due to our false ego. Like suffering comes from our misuse of independence. As we think that when we think we are the lord of this material world, or we have the false ego of like this, so we become conditioned, and we are the eternal part and parcel of the Lord. We can become liberated by living our life in the in by using our senses in the engaging ourselves in the good things or engaging ourselves in the service of Lord, this is the good way of living the life, and like suffering comes from our false ego. This is the point I understand.
Okay. Yeah, our false ego, right? False ego. We're thinking, what are we thinking? We're thinking we're the controller. We're the doer.
The controller. We think that we are the lord of this material things, and all things belongs to me. But actually, everything emanates from the God. We just forget it. That's why we have become conditioned.
Yes, right. We forget, right? We have to write these things up, put them on the wall. I'm not the body. I'm a tiny spirit soul. I know one man, he would do that. He'd copy out big sections from Prabhupada's books. He'd hang it on the wall to remind him that he's a soul. Okay. And the other verse also, Mama Vamsa Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Right? Did you speak on that verse? Someone?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
15.7, that I am highlighting the point that all the living entities are the eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and that this nature of the soul is the Sanatan. This is not a temporary condition. Like we are qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord, but not a quantitatively.
Ah, yes. So the verse says, we're struggling very hard, right? Mehak, are you there?
Yes, yes.
What does the verse say? Read the verse, the full verse.
Maharaj, I don't know about that Sanskrit. Can I read the translation?
Yeah, I just want to hear the translation.
The living entities in this condensed world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to condensed life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which includes the mind.
Right. We're struggling very hard. Why are we struggling very hard with the mind and the senses? What's the problem? Well, in an earlier verse, Lord Krishna said, he says, he was describing about the material energy, right? The material energy is made up of he said, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 comprise my separated material energy. And then the next verse, you know the next verse? He says, there is another nature of mind. Apariyamitastvanyam prakritim vidime param. Right? Jiva bhuta mahabaho yedam daryate jaga. He said, there's another energy of mind which are all living entities. Right? And what are they trying to do? Do you know this verse in Bhagavad Gita? Where is this verse? Earth, where Krishna is describing the elements of the material nature? Chapter 7. Right? Mehak?
7.7. 7.4.
Yes, is it? And then what's 7.5? Can you read the English for us?
7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
अपरे यमितस्त्वत्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतान् महाबाहो ययेदं धार्यते जगत्.
Translation?
Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprise the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature.
Right. They're exploiting the resources of the material nature. That's why we're having so much trouble, because we're trying to exploit all the resources of the material nature. That's why we're struggling very hard with our senses and our mind, because we are trying to exploit everything in this material world. We have forgotten who is the proprietor. You know, we're thinking, this is mine. Just like we think, this is my oil. This is my land. Like this, people, wars, they're fighting over these things. So people are in this kind of ignorance. It's very difficult for them to understand. All right?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes?
Maharaj, in text 7, I want to add something, may I?
Oh yes, please.
Maharaj, there is written that in 3 modes of nature, when mind is in mode of goodness, is good, passion is troublesome, and in ignorance, it travels to lower species. So if we want to move from these 3 modes of material nature, we need to transcend ourselves from these 3 modes of material nature. Like we can, like here it is written, with the mind and senses. So we can engage our mind and senses in Krishna consciousness, so we can transcend ourselves from these 3 modes of material nature.
Okay, yes. So what are you going to do? How are you going to engage yourself in Krishna consciousness?
I will do the services to engage my senses from that into that, or engage my mind in remembrance of Krishna.
How are you going to do it? Tell me. What are you going to do?
First, I need to identify myself and my relationship with Krishna. Like Sambandha, Abhidaya and Prayojana is written in text 15. So first I need to understand my position, and then I can engage myself in that service.
Well, you know your position. You're a servant. He's the master.
Yes.
Doesn't take long to know that. Now what are you going to do? How are you going to engage in Krishna consciousness? What activities are you going to do?
Hearing, chanting.
You're going to sit and chant all day?
No. Like there are 9 processes are given by Prahlad Maharaj, so we can do like whatever I'm doing right now. I can do akarma, like we read before. Whatever I'm doing, I can connect that with Krishna. Not only chanting or hearing, but everything I'm doing, I can just connect with Krishna. So I can engage my all senses in Krishna consciousness.
Are you working?
I'm a student, medical student, MBBS.
You're a medical student. Oh my goodness. So you have a lot of work to do.
Yes.
They keep you very busy.
Yes.
Do you get time to chant?
Yes, Maharaj.
Are you able to get? Huh?
I'm practicing, doctor. It's my last year.
Oh, you're doing the internship?
No, Maharaj. I'm not doing internship.
You're not yet intern?
It's my last year in college. Last year in college.
Last year in college. Next year you're going to hospital, is it?
Yes, Maharaj.
Mm-hmm. So, are you able to get prasadam all right?
Yes, Maharaj.
I hope you're not going to go into the abortion department.
No, Maharaj.
Yeah, you know, some of these jobs are not very suitable for devotees, you know. They have to do these kind of nasty things. So, are you able to get prasadam out every day? Do you cook for yourself?
Yes, Maharaj. I'm living with my family, so my mother cook.
Oh, your mother cooks for you. Okay. Is she a vegetarian?
Yes, Maharaj. My whole family is vegetarian.
Are they devotees?
Yes, Maharaj. They are practicing devotees.
Oh, very nice. You're lucky.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. All right. So engage yourself in Krishna consciousness. Everything you do for Krishna, you study for Krishna, be a doctor for Krishna. Do everything in Krishna consciousness. That's very good. We have to always be thinking of Krishna. And you can distribute a lot of books. You can make a lot of devotees there. Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, you know, he's had a lot of health problems over the last 10 years or more. And he's spent a lot of time in and out of hospitals, but all the time he's distributing books and different things of Krishna conscious paraphernalia to people, all the different doctors and the nurses and the other patients and so on. So we hope you can also try to distribute Krishna consciousness in your career. Try to give Krishna consciousness out. It's very important for us to distribute the message of Krishna. Don't just keep the knowledge for ourselves. You know, the Prabhupada gives the example about if you keep water in a clay pot. I remember when I first came to India, everything was kept in clay pots. We didn't have refrigerators at that time. It's not so common to have a refrigerator. And people would keep the water cool. They keep it in a clay pot. But the clay pot is porous. And the water, if you keep it in the clay pot, the water gradually evaporates. So the same way with spiritual knowledge. You may have a lot of knowledge, but if you don't use it regularly, gradually you forget it. Just like you're studying medicine. And you have to constantly revise yourself and review everything you've studied. You want to be able to use it. You don't want to forget it. And so it's important to regularly review and remember everything. And so similarly in Krishna consciousness, whatever spiritual knowledge we absorb, we should distribute it. We should share it with other people. And in this way, we will remember it better. But if we just keep it for ourselves, and we just store it in our mind, then gradually it will dry up, it will evaporate, we'll forget. Just like you're doing Bhakti-Shastri, is it? You're doing Bhakti-Shastri course just now? Right?
Yes, Maharajji, yes.
Yeah, all of you students, you're doing Bhakti-Shastri course. So you have to learn slokas, right? Part of the course, you will have to memorize some slokas. You should learn the Sanskrit and the translation. And you should be able to say it and use it. But often we find devotees, they do very good for the exam, and then after the exam, they forget everything. Right? They learn it for the exam, just like whenever I know when I was studying, when I was a student, we had exam, I'd learn for the exam, but after the exam, forget it, never use it again, put it aside. So, Bhakti-Shastri is a bit like that too. People learn Bhakti-Shastri and they learn the slokas and then they forget them. You want to use them. You want to recite them again. You make use of the things, the knowledge you're learning. It's very important, Tell other people, Dehinosmin yata dehe komara. Like that, sing some songs and let's say, oh, what is this? What do you say? And you can tell them, you can talk to them, tell them about this, what the verse means. And in this way you'll give Krishna consciousness to people. We have to always be thinking how to give more spiritual knowledge to other people. All right? Any questions? Anyone tonight?
Maharaj, I have a question.
Yes.
Maharaj, I just want to understand how in a subtle way we understand that we are not this body or so. Like it maybe sound funny. Like I personally, I'm afraid of lizard, and as you mentioned that we have to see the this like even in everyone is the jiva and everyone is the soul, but as a part of a lizard I don't see it. And when I go to the preaching platform, when my family members, they said that, oh, you are so much afraid of lizard, how you are in the concept of you're not this body or soul. So how to understand this, that we are not this body, we are soul, in a very subtle way, because sometimes it makes me confused, so that's why.
Yes, well, how to understand. The first thing we have to do, we have to experience an awakening of the self, self-realization, that self-realization. And I think it comes about more by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. When we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, we can actually experience an awakening of the self, of the soul. We can feel the soul within us. We can feel that spiritual particle within us. And similarly, when you see a person born, a baby takes birth. How do they take birth? How did they get the body? Because there's a soul there in the body. And when a person dies, what's happening? The soul is leaving the body. When you see someone die, they're leaving the body. And so death is just a change of the body. So we see the movements of the soul And the soul, we have to understand how there's life in everyone and everything. Even the grass and the trees and the plants, they have life. One famous Bengali scientist, he did research to show that consciousness was there in plants. Even there was another man, he played music to different kinds of plants. And when he would play soft, pleasing, very gentle music, the plants would grow very nicely. But when he would play music which was very harsh and banging, a lot of drums, and the plants would all dry up and wither, They would respond to the different music which was played to them. So you could see the consciousness. And there was another lady, she was growing her vegetables, and she would talk to the vegetables. And the vegetables, she would grow these big vegetables because she was talking to them. And the plants were, they had consciousness. They could feel that this person really cares for us. And the plants grew so nicely. So in this way, we can understand so many ways how there's souls there in everything. But of course, some things like lizards, snakes, and scorpions, they're not very pleasant, And definitely, we understand, that these are souls which are put into these kind of bodies, you see. It's that body, that's the kind of punishment for these souls. So they're put into that kind of body. And so Haridas Thakur, he was in the cave and there was a snake. And it was, we go to this place actually, it's not far away from Mayapur, where Haridas Thakur had the snake was there. When people were afraid to come because they could smell the snake. And they knew there was a big snake there. When Haridas Thakur said, I will go, I will move, because you're afraid to come here. And when Haridas Thakur was going to go, the snake left. And the snake didn't want to inconvenience Haridas Thakur. So even snakes, they have a consciousness. The Lord is in their heart. The Lord is in the heart of the lizard. The Lord is in the heart of these different creatures. Krishna is so kind, he's living with them. But of course, these souls, they're in an unpleasant situation. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, they have to take birth in these kind of bodies again and again until they change. But so long as they're like, you get these dogs, some dogs are very nasty, they really hate people, and they say the snake is envious of people because the snake doesn't have any legs, and he sees people with legs, so they're envious of people with legs. So you have to be careful. But we should understand Krishna's everywhere, and he's in the heart of everyone. And if we're Krishna, the more we have to train we have to develop that consciousness to feel Krishna's there with these living entities. The living entity is there in that body, but he's not alone. And Lord Krishna is with them. And so we have to also pray to Krishna and honor Krishna, give respect to them. My dear flower, my dear tree, My dear lizard, please chant Hare Krishna mantra. Alright? Hear the holy name. My dear lizard, unfortunately you cannot chant the holy name, but at least you can hear the holy name. And we have to encourage, try to give Krishna consciousness everywhere, to everyone. So we have to develop that consciousness, that vision, just like we have to see all living entities equally. So it's practice, it takes practice. And then we have to always train our mind. Our conditioning is, your conditioning is you don't like lizards. Maybe as a small child, maybe you had some fear of them. Yeah, it's natural. But, that's just conditioning, right? You have to come up to the liberated platform. Don't remain conditioned, right? Become a liberated soul. Body, mind, and words in the service of Krishna. So see Krishna, right? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost to him. He is never lost to me. So we have to come to that higher platform to see Krishna everywhere, in everything, in everyone. Even in the lizards, my dear lizard friend. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So we'll finish here tonight. We'll come back tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Bhakti Vigna Vinash Narsingh Maharaj ki jai.
Thank you.